Hello, everybody. This is Becky here at Aunt Beck's Creations, and I am coming on to share some backgrounds that I made during today's craft and chat with the little group I'm in. And I just wanted to let you know these are the little bits that are left over of painty paper after you've used a bunch of your painty paper and you just have strips and things. So I'm going to just show what I did today and explain some things. So here's one, and I just glued the strips down onto the paper randomly, and just to see I started with a light blue piece of cardstock, and then I just started gluing the strips on, and then when the strips didn't quite meet all the way to the end of the paper, then I ran some strips in the opposite direction, and then I just did a little bit of layering with some pieces on top. And once it was dry, I went back in with my Posca, and I've added this with a Posca pen and this scribbly writing, and I used a gel pen here. And you can just go in and just, add some outlining on some of the prints on there. I could come in and go around these circles, but then I got to thinking I don't need to go into that detail on everything until after I've cut it all apart. But let me just show you the sheets I created. So this was one. If I do it this way, you can see them better. And then here's another one. And these were a lot of fun. I did these dots with just some acrylic paint and a wooden dowel. Hi, Pam. And then here's another one. I found this punch star, and I went ahead and glued it on there. You can see where I added some things here and there. And then after I used all my longer strips, I said, I'm just going to use whatever random paper I grab. So that's what this sheet is. So you can either do stripes and strips like this, or just your random pieces. Just glue them all down and then come back in and add your Posca pen, and you could even do some more splattering with paint. You could use some stencils. Here I've outlined the blue dots on here with the white gel pen in here. But now I'm going to turn these over so I don't know what I'm getting when I cut them out. And I want to measure this first. I think these are 8.5 by 11. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it in half this way. So I get the 4, what is it for a card? It's 4 1/4 by 5.5. So I'm just going to cut this in half, and then I'll cut it in half this way. And this will give me 2 card fronts out of each sheet. So let's see what the card fronts are going to look like from this paper. That'll make some interesting cards. So what I would probably do is do it like this, and then I could put my greeting in this blue section. So that's 2 cards. But now I've got this, and what I want to do is make some artist trading cards. So let's do, if I cut this at 2.5, what do I got left here? Yeah, I could do 2.5-inch strips this way. And then how wide is this piece? Only 3. So I'm going to cut this down to 2.5 here. And these little strips I'll use as piece sections that I can make more cards with. But now I'm going to cut this at the 3.5 here. And then I can turn this piece and I'll get a different cut, so I won't have some of the same papers. And another little piece that I can use for tile work on a card. And then the 2 ATCs here. Just random ATC backgrounds. And I'm going to do that the same thing on this one. So I need to cut this at the 3.5 here. And then I'll take this piece and turn it and get a 3.5 here. So I'll have 4 artist trading cards, some bits, and 2 card fronts. Oh, I didn't show you that bit. There's that bit. And if I had one of those square punches, I could just punch this out. But since I don't, what I could do is, let's see how big this is this way. So that's 1.5 inches. So what I could do is turn this over and cut myself a 1.5 inch little square and just have that piece. And I could do 1.5 inch squares, and I could use these to create a tile book. So let's make some tiles, and we'll do the same on this one. We'll cut 1.5 inches on this one. So I have a little square from this piece too. So now this little piece will go to make a tile on a card, and this will go for a square in a little journal tile. Here's 2 more ATCs. And see, you get different backgrounds for ATCs. So now let's see if Becky can remember how I did this again. Hi, Carol. So let's grab this one. We'll cut it in half this way at the 5.5. And we'll turn this and cut it at the 4.25. So this will be my 2 card fronts. That's a cool card. And there's a cool card. And then we'll cut our ATCs out of here. And I think I cut them this way. This paper doesn't seem to be straight. Cut this at 2.5. We'll cut this at 2.5. We'll just set that aside for a minute. Sorry, my hands are a little sore from making a big basket today. So there's my strip that I can set aside to use to make more cards. And then this must have fallen off somebody. So we'll cut from one end a 3.5, and then I'll flip the strip so I get a different piece. A 3.5. And I'll go ahead and, without looking, I'll cut my 1.5 inch square. All right, so we got the strip. We got this little piece here that can go for cards. This will go in the tile project. And then here's 2 more ATC backgrounds. These are very colorful ATC backgrounds. So we'll cut there. And then we'll flip it around and cut another 3.5. And then I'll get my 1.5 inch square tile. I don't really have a book set aside for that. So there's that to go over there. There's my little tile. And 2 more ATC backgrounds. Cut this. Oh, wrong way. Almost messed up. It's this way you cut it, the 5.5. All right. These 2 have a little bit hanging over the edges. That's okay. Oh, cool. I got the star all on one card front. So that could go like that, and you could add something to it. So there's a couple more card fronts. And then we'll cut our 2.5 and 2.5. I might flip this so I get a little bit different. So there's my strip to go in my pile. And then I'll cut 3.5. And this was just playing with my scraps today. 3.5. So make you some backgrounds and have them ready to go. You can make fun cards. All right, so a little tile for the card, a little tile for the tile project, and then 2 ATCs. And then we'll do the same on here. It was fun using up these scraps. Hi, Dar. And the 1.5 inch here. That's cute. Add this over here. And see, I could put just a little image on here, like something out of a magazine, glue it on there, and make it a little tile. Here's the ATCs pieces. That's almost screaming for me to put something inside there like it's framed. Interesting backgrounds. I have one left here. So we could actually, for this last one, because it's got the cool different shaped scraps, I just might make this one all card fronts because I got plenty of ATC backgrounds. So we'll just cut that way. Well, I'll do them one at a time because sometimes that don't work. Then I'll cut this way. So there's the first 2 card fronts, 1 and 2. I actually like all the different shapes of paper a lot more than just the striped paper, but the stripped paper. But it's okay. I use my scraps up. But the different shapes really add a little something extra to it. All right. So we got just these little scraps here that I can, what I do is I'll cut a mat that's in black and I'll just edge where you can't see these. Like I'll take a Sharpie. Let me see, do I have one handy? Take one of these chunky Sharpies and just cover the edge of the paper so you don't see that white paper. And if you put these on a piece of black cardstock and then just put it down on your card base, it's an instant card. And what I would do is I would leave space between these so you could see some of the black paper below. But I would definitely cover up the well, either white or mine's light blue. But I don't really want that color peeking out. And if you, when you're doing this, make sure that this part is toward the back part of it is facing the marker so that if you slip and it goes toward the paper, it's on the back of your tile piece instead of down your pretty papers. But I would leave a little space in between them. And this makes some really cool cards. I think this marker's starting to dry, like I've used it a bit. But if anybody's been around, I like to make cards up ahead of time. So I could do 3 tiles like that, and then we could maybe cut a strip that's the same or the width of the card front, and then put these other 3 below it after I've blacked them, and put these 3 below it, and that's a card front right there, if you think about it. All right. So use your scraps. Keep your scraps and use them. You could make one card out of this, and then you could make a card out of whatever's left here the same way with a piece of black cardstock and then mount it. And then you've got all of these card fronts here. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 card fronts. This is all from 4 sheets of cardstock that's covered with your leftover painty paper bits. And then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 ATCs, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I could use these like to add onto a tile page, or even just these 6 of these together on a card front would be pretty. So use your scraps. When you start feeling like you just don't know what to do for the day, but your mind is racing with thoughts that are upsetting to you, just grab a piece of cardstock and a glue stick and just start gluing paper. That's what I did today. And I've got all of this ready to go to make cards and ATCs. And you've filled your time with something positive. So that is all I wanted to share. I see that Shannon Art Junkie comes on at 7 o'clock. And I think Mary comes on after that if she's coming on tonight. But I wanted to pop on and just share these bits. And I will see you guys in the next one. And thank you, Beth. So I will talk to you later. Bye, guys.